Are we ready? Well, you know, we always start out saying this is a good day for New York, but this really is a particularly good day to New York. Let me start out by thanking the PS 90 students and Principal Greta Hawkins for that great song. What I'd really like to hear as an encore is Here Comes the Sun. Can you do that? But whether the sun comes out today or not, this is an exciting weekend for New York City, and the sun will be out a lot this summer. Every year, New Yorkers of all ages look forward to Memorial Day weekend. It's the kickoff of summer, the beginning of barbecues and block parties, and of course, beach season. And this year, Memorial Day weekend has a special significance. As you know, a few months ago, our region's beaches, places that make us think of fun and family gatherings, were scenes of tragic devastation left by Hurricane Sandy. And in the wake of that storm, we promised New Yorkers that no matter what it takes, every one of our city's beaches would be open on Memorial Day. And today, I'm very excited to make it official. All 8 of the city's free public beaches will be open for the 2013 season beginning this Saturday, and they're scheduled to remain open through Labor Day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And let me just, because I'll have to... As an aside, just let me remind everybody, because over the summer, unfortunately, we occasionally have tragedies. Don't go in the water unless there's a lifeguard there. I don't have put a downer in the middle of it, but we just love to have a summer free of any tragedies. It would be wonderful. The beaches are here for all of us. God gave them to us, but you have to exercise some caution. And I don't care how good a swimmer you are. The ocean is dangerous. There are riptides when you don't expect them. So just exercise some common sense. Better to be safe than sorry. Anyways, Sandy dealt our city's beaches a devastating blow, and it did take a tremendous amount of work to get them to where they are today. As you know, the city dedicated every resource possible to the effort, including thousands of employees from our departments of parks, sanitation, transportation, buildings, emergency management, environmental protection, small business services, and health, as well as the NYPD and FDNY, the Public Design Commission, and the Economic Development Corporation. Our Department of Design and Construction led a team of contractors working around the clock, and they were aided by great partnership and cooperation with state and federal agencies. And I did want to single out a special thanks to the states of Pennsylvania and New Jersey for their partnership, and to HUD Secretary Sean Donovan, as you know, a former commissioner in our administration, who's leading the federal response to Sandy and who's doing an outstanding job at it. NYC Service, the Partnership for Parks, and the City's Park Foundation also mobilized together more than 8,000 volunteers in the weeks after the storm to boost our efforts. And together these workers and volunteers cleared tons of debris, about 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth, as a matter of fact, and moved tons of sand pushed by the storm into streets and parks near our beaches. They spent hundreds of thousands of hours repairing parks and playgrounds, fixing damaged buildings, and removing structures ruined by the storm. And we also rebuilt thousands of feet of boardwalks and access ramps to make sure our beaches are accessible for all New Yorkers this summer. We've rebuilt concession spaces and replanted native vegetation lost in the storm. We've replaced thousands of tons of sand in beaches around the boroughs, and with the Army Corps of Engineers, we'll bring more replacement sand to our beaches in Coney Island and the Rockaways throughout the summer. And I did want to acknowledge Colonel Paul Owen, who is here today and who's been a big part of that effort. Paul, wave. Where are you? There he is. He's you should know, a 20-plus year veteran of the Army serving our country, posted to Fort Hamilton. And I think Veronica White, our Parks Commissioner, would tell you, without the Army Corps of Engineers, we never could have got it done. With DDC taking the lead, we also installed new storm-resistant facilities, including state-of-the-art public restrooms and lifeguard stations. These are prefabricated buildings built off-site with sustainable features like solar panels. They are elevated to protect them during future storms. They've been installed at beaches here in Coney Island, Brighton Beach, and the Rockaways, and we'll start to install them in Staten Island next week. Now, we did all that and more so that our beaches could safely open for the summer season, and so much of that work will continue into the months ahead. All told, our efforts to date cost the city approximately $270 million, and we're working with the federal government to get reimbursed for as much of that as possible. There was a huge amount of work done in a very short time, and I think it's a testament to everyone who worked so hard to make it happen. And I especially want to thank our Park Commissioner, Veronica White, and Department of Design and Construction, David Burney, and Annette Smith, a key member of the City Hall team who really led this Herculean effort. We owe a great debt of thanks to city government, everyone in city government who made this possible, as well as everyone in the private sector who took part in this work, including Coney and LIPA, the Long Island Power Authority. Now, this is great news for the more than 20 million people who will use our beaches this summer, but it is only the first phase of our beach reconstruction effort. We all know we still have a lot of work to do, a lot more to build on the groundwork to make our beaches stronger than ever, more resilient for the long term, and more importantly, to protect the surrounding communities from future storms. The second phase of this work is still in progress. The Parks Department has set aside more than $380 million for this effort, and we'll be hard at work in the months to come making these improvements. For instance, along with the Army Corps of Engineers, we'll continue restoring beaches and dunes, especially in the Rockaways and Staten Island, in a smart way that protects beaches from erosion and protects coastal communities from flooding. We're installing new lighting and signage and renovating parks and playgrounds near our beaches. We're also building new boardwalks that are better equipped to withstand the storm. Our number one priority, however, in all this work is protecting beach communities, and so we're working closely with those communities on all of our long-term capital plans. Now, thanks to all of this work, lots of New Yorkers will head out to our beaches this weekend for the first time. What should be a terrific summer. I know many of them will be headed to one beach in particular, and that is where we are, Coney Island. And when they do, they'll see an incredible turnaround that's happened since the days after Sandy. The beaches and boardwalks are back. Restaurants and businesses are open. Nathan's is open, not good for my waistline, but good for my taste buds. And this weekend, I'm happy to announce the New York Aquarium is reopening. It's one of Coney Island's most popular attractions, and that's why the city was glad to lend a hand through the Department of Cultural Affairs to get it back open for the summer. The aquarium, as many of you know, was hard hit by Sandy, and I want to applaud its director, John Dolan, as well as John Cavelli of the Wildlife Conservation Society for their hard work in getting the doors back open for visitors. Now, today we're also officially opening the latest addition to Coney Island's growing collection of unparalleled family attractions, Steeplechase Plaza. It is a new 2-acre park here at the western end of Coney Island's new amusement areas. One of the historic centerpieces of the plaza is the fantastic B Carousel right here, an historic ride originally built in Coney Island back in 1906. Think about that. That's a long time ago. I venture to say there is nobody here today that was alive when this was built. It has operated for 7 decades here on Surf Avenue, but then it was nearly sold in pieces in an auction in 2005. The city stepped in to save it, and now we've meticulously restored it, and we think that it's going to be a favorite attraction for visitors for many years to come. Steeplechase also has an open public plaza, great for informal gatherings or to host events like the Mermaid Parade. It also has Luna Forest, a shaded area for leisure, as well as a cafe that faces the boardwalk and party area for young children and families. Construction of Steeplechase Plaza cost $29.5 million and created nearly 150 construction jobs. It's the latest piece of our comprehensive plan to revitalize Coney Island, and that's brought new life to one of our city's most beloved and historic destinations. It's also brought new businesses, new investment, and new jobs. And earlier this year, our city hosted our 4th annual job fair for Coney Island and helped us fill more than 800 seasonal jobs in Coney's amusement parks, many with residents in the neighborhood. Now, there's every reason to expect that this year will be another record-breaking season here at Coney, and I'll be back to laud that and to say congratulations to everybody in the fall. But just remember, you got to be careful when you're out here. Now, we have a number of speakers, but we have some who are not going to speak, and I just wanted to first recognize them. Carter Strickland from the Department of Environmental Protection. Carter, wave your hand. Rob Walsh, Small Business Services. David Burney, Department of Design and Construction. Vista Police, the Office of People with Disabilities. Nate Bliss, Southern Brooklyn Lead for NYC Special Rebuilding. Nate brought his whole family here today. That's good. Jim Dolan, Director of the New York Aquarium. I mentioned him before. We recognized Colonel Paul Owen before. Alberto Zambarella, CEO and President of Zambarella. Dennis Voderies, Chairman of the Alliance for Coney Island. Chuck Reckenthal, District Manager at Community Board 13. And Greta Hawkins, Principal at PS 90. Okay, so let me first start with turning the floor over to Veronica White. Veronica?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. This morning, as I took a walk on the boardwalk with our Parks Borough Commissioner, Kevin Jeffrey, and his team, I couldn't help but think back on just 7 short months ago when I took a walk with Mayor Bloomberg and with Councilmember Recchia, and all the damage and destruction and sand, and think about the beaches I walked on with the mayor and with my boss, First Deputy Mayor Patty Harris, across all of our boroughs, and saw the destruction and devastation. And I thought to myself, how can we possibly do this? We're one agency. And the answer was teamwork and partnership and collaboration. And that's the hallmark of the Bloomberg administration. And I was a brand new commissioner, but not brand new to the administration. And I called upon everyone, first and foremost, David Burney, and I'd like a big shout out for the Department of Design and Construction, who have been awesome. To Anthony Romeo, who led this project for us. But every project needs a captain, and I wasn't good enough to be the captain. Nanette Smith was the captain. And where is she? Nanette?
Nanette's not here.
That's
working.
Nanette's probably in the Rockaways finishing the construction so I can get there and open that beach at 11:30. That's probably where she is, if she's not back here. But it was awesome, and it was an awesome group of people. And people called out to me. I got a call one Saturday night at 11 o'clock from Rob Walsh, Commissioner of Small Business Services from an airport. And he said, I heard the feds are putting out some money. You get an application in the next 24 hours, I'll have 1,000 workers for you. And we did. Commissioner Walsh, thank you. We had 1,000 people out here in Coney Island, in the Rockaways, and in Staten Island, cleaning up each and every day. And you saw those folks, and you know what? They were really grateful for a job. They came, and they were hired by SBS for the Parks Department, and they were so grateful to be working here through those tortured cold months. I know we're seeing a little bit of a storm now, but we're talking they were out here in November, December, and January cleaning up. The Department of Sanitation was awesome with us every single step of the way, and it never stopped. Just a couple of weeks ago, I called Commissioner Carter Strickland and I said, looks like we can't bring those new modulars across the roads. You have a few piers for me? And yes, he did, and he opened up those piers, and we brought our modulars in by barge from the port of Newark. So it's been awesome being part of this administration, being part of this opening, and just a big, big thank you to everyone involved. First of all, of course, the mayor, Patty Harris, Nanette Smith, all of the commissioners have been working with me, but also to Liam Kavanaugh, the first Deputy Commissioner of the Parks Department, who led so much of this effort. And the work goes on and on. We'll be finishing a pier outside sometime in July, and we're working on that now, as you can see. And Liam, working together with the Army Corps of Engineers, with Colonel Owen, is bringing 1 million cubic yards of sand here to Coney Island this summer on their backs, right? Thank you very much. Very, very important because it's the first means of protection for our communities. And a big thank you to Therese Braddock, the Commissioner for Capital Projects at the Parks Department. She and David Burney and Anthony Romeo led the team which included Sage & Coombe Architects, McLaren, Garrison Architects, Matthews Nielsen Landscape Architects, Triton Construction, and Jacobs Construction. And everyone's been working around the clock since Sandy hit. And I thank and congratulate each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Veronica, thank you. Great job, everybody in the Parks Department. Seth Pinsky, President of the city's Economic Development Corporation. I can just tell you so many of the things that are going to carry this city forward for the next 3 or 4 decades were started by Seth Pinsky and Bob Steele and Bob's predecessors, the Deputy Mayor for Economic Development. They and EDC have just made an enormous difference. We've made the kind of investments which most cities don't make, which most cities say, oh, we'll have to do it down the road. We can't afford it now in tough times. The time to make these kinds of investments is in tough times. We've done it. And people down the road may not realize it, but their jobs and their quality of life are really greatly favorably impacted by Seth and Steele and all of the people. Seth, you want to?
Thank you so much, Mayor Bloomberg. And like so many people here, I was here in the days just after Hurricane Sandy and walked along the boardwalk and walked through the neighborhood and wondered how it was that we were going to recover from this horrible disaster. And yet, just a few months later, here we are. And I think what this shows is that not only can we, but we really have to make investments in our waterfront neighborhoods all across the 5 boroughs. And that's exactly what we're doing right here in Coney Island. We're investing $150 million in new infrastructure to improve drainage in the whole community. We're investing in affordable housing in the first YMCA in southern Brooklyn. We're working to preserve and to expand the amusement district. And now we have this incredible new facility here at Steeplechase Plaza. This is really a great day for Coney Island, a great day for Brooklyn, and a great day for New York City. And so let me just conclude my remarks by thanking the many people who are responsible for bringing us to this day. Of course, first and foremost, Mayor Bloomberg, as well as Deputy Mayor Bob Steele, all of my fellow commissioners who have worked so hard to bring not just this neighborhood, but all of the neighborhoods across the city back. Borough President Markowitz, Councilmember Recchia, Assemblyman Brooke Krasny, Chuck Reichenthal from Community Board 13, and I also want to thank our partners in the construction of this project, AECOM and Rockwell Group, as well as Todd Goings, who did the amazing restoration work on this carousel. And finally, if I can also just thank the team from EDC that did such a great job building this beautiful new plaza. Nate Bliss, who has already been mentioned, but also the capital team at EDC, including Dimitri Conan, Greg Clancy, Owen Foote, Gail Rothstein, Samantha Borges. And if I can just, as a very last remark, put in a plug for Inspector de Blasio from the 60th Precinct, who has been a great partner through all of this. Thank you very much, and we look forward to many more openings in the future of Coney Island.
Seth mentioned Inspector de Blasio. A lot of people don't remember the crime that we used to have in many parts of this city, and Coney Island was no exception. All parts of the city had a high crime rate. Today, the crime rate is so dramatically lower. You can walk the streets without looking over your shoulder. There's still some bad guys and women around, but they're very few, and we owe the NYPD a great debt of gratitude for what they've done, and they keep us safe. When people come to Coney Island, they are going to be safe. Now, I think it's fair to say that there are very few things that have happened good to Brooklyn that this next guy wasn't a part of. He wasn't the only one, but it would have been an awful lot hard to do things without him. He's a doer. He never stops. And he's a real Brooklynite. Welcome the borough president, Marty Markowitz.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very, very much. Spoke about your waistline and Nathan's. I don't know, one of us shows it and one of us certainly doesn't. But it's got, life is good. As long as Nathan's reopened, life is good. But let me thank you, Mayor. Once again, you believed in Coney Island. You've assembled some of the finest administrators, commissioners that this city ever had. And together with our great city workforce, it really made it happen. In Coney Island, and Dominic Recchia, Mr. Coney Island, Nate, our community board, Coney Island is looking better than ever. And so let the word go out very, very clearly to tourists and New Yorkers alike and Americans. America's playground is affordable, accessible, and the most exciting in America. All the other ones are make-believe. This is the place where dreams come true. And Mayor, I must tell you, in the days ahead, first off, with this carousel, you've given me another option. Up until now, the only ride I would go on is the Wonder Wheel. And the cars that stay permanent, not the ones that move. Right, Dennis and Steve? But now I have a second option, the carousel. This is exactly my speed. No disrespect to Valerio or Mr. Zamperla, but this is going to be great for kids of all ages, even our age, and a great new addition to Coney Island. And so all I can say is that Brooklyn is looking great. This Coney Island will attract visitors from all over the world. And I know I see Kevin Jeffrey Park shaking his head. It really will be. And it's the place where, you know, this started the whole thing. This park, Coney Island, started the whole amusement in America in terms of theme parks and amusement centers. And now we can clearly say, once again, as I said earlier, this is indeed forever America's playground. Congratulations.
Marty mentioned going on the carousel. I have a commitment from him that he and I are going on the slingshot.
No, only if your money. Only if you put your money out and let me fall on that.
Marty, I work for $1 a year, and you weigh a little bit too much for that. No offense intended to your waistline. Marty mentioned Dominic Recchia. I think it's also fair to say nobody has been more of an advocate and a effective advocate for Brooklyn, for his district, but particularly for Coney Island than Dominic Recchia. Dominic?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to start off by thanking everyone here today for helping my constituents and my community throughout Superstorm Sandy. I want to personally thank every commissioner that is here today because everyone came to this community to help us out. I want to thank PS 90 and their great little chorus under the principal, Greta Hawkins. This is a school, Mr. Mayor, that was closed, that oil was all over the building, and that because the School Construction Authority, they're up and running again, and the kids are just performing beautiful. This carousel has a lot of meaning to me. I grew up here in this community, and I remember when I was a youngster riding this carousel. I remember my friends and I used to leave school and ride the carousel and try to get the golden ring.
Did you leave school during the school day or after school?
I take the Fifth Amendment. So when I got elected, I made a commitment to this community. We were going to revitalize Coney Island. And it was with the support of the Bloomberg administration that this happened. But I remember that day in 2005 when we learned that the family that owned this carousel was going to sell it and it was going to go off to another state. It was Mayor Michael Bloomberg, EDC, and the staff at City Hall that said we cannot let this carousel leave Brooklyn. And because of them, this carousel is here today with a new home, better than ever. It looks gorgeous, and it's because of what Mayor Michael Bloomberg did for this city. But when they refurbished it, they took in mind of all those people who are handicapped. And because of that, handicapped children and adults will be able to ride this carousel tonight because one of the carts were taken out and it's handicap accessible. And I just want to thank the mayor for thinking of all the handicapped people that can now ride this carousel. There's another good thing that the mayor doesn't want to say, but I will say it for him. It's because of him. He talked about 800 jobs. But what he didn't tell you, a majority of those jobs went to Coney Island residents. Never before we see Coney Island residents working. You walk throughout these parks and I see people that live in Coney Island, and it's because of Mayor Michael Bloomberg and his staff. They all have jobs and they're working, and Coney Island is thriving. It really is because of what the mayor has done. So today is my last beach opening as the councilman for this wonderful district. I leave it to the next city councilman to carry on. But it's because everyone here, and it's because of the great staff. I just want to thank Mayor, you're wonderful, your staff. I have to thank Nanette Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, Nanette Smith really made sure this beach was going to be open because all these bathrooms and facilities are open because of Nanette Smith and Hayden Mahaltas. Oh, she's here? Okay, I want you to know she's been great working with us. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for saving this carousel. It's been a great 12 years together, great partner.
You know, all kidding aside, we always say nice things about, you say nice things about each other. As Henry Kissinger would say in this case, it has the added advantage of being true. This guy really has made a very big difference for Brooklyn, as did Marty. They've just worked as hard as they could. to get things done, and they're very effective. And also, we get a lot of help from the state. And Alec Bertrensky is here. This is his district, and I just wanted to say thank you to him. We're going to hear from him next. But we tend to go to the state, ask for monies, go to the federal government, ask for monies, and we forget to say thank you. Sometimes it doesn't come through as fast or as much as we want, but we do get a lot, and we should say thank you, particularly if we want more later on. Alec?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me remind you that people in this community speak more than 40 languages. So let me say, on behalf of this community, a great community, let me say thank you, spasiba, gracia, and grazie, shishi, and merci beaucoup. And I'm sure people in the audience will add a lot to it. So language-wise, we're just totally equipped here on Coney Island to greet people from any country in the world. And so many people are coming from so many different countries. And this wonderful addition to the amusement area will be just another great anchor. And it's just so wonderful to have this day. And on that night of Sandy, it was very hard to predict that we would have a day like this on May 24th, just a few months later. And it's because of the work of so many people, of so many departments. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. And Marty, Dominic, and Mr. Mayor. This fall, people in New York City, in Brooklyn, in Dominic's district, they will have a very difficult job to elect the people who would be able to replace you. Thank you again. And to the team, to Squadra Azzurra, buona fortuna. We all need you to be successful here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Alec, thank you. Let me summarize today's announcement for our Spanish-speaking New Yorkers. Las playas públicas abran a partir de mañana hasta el Día del Trabajo en septiembre. Hemos trabajando para limpiar y reparar las playas después de Huracán Sandy y vamos a continuar asegurando la seguridad de nuestras áreas costales. También estamos abriendo una nueva área de Coney Island con el Carousel histórico y nuevas concesiones. And now you're going to all get together and join us, and we are going to officially inaugurate the B Carousel.